Now. Here we go. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 186. Tonight's guest. First of all, I want to say tonight's guest was supposed to be Ryan McCormick, and there was been a few tornadoes in Arkansas, and he's a little bit busy. And then on top of the tornadoes, they had a lot of wildfires going on, so even more busy. But besides all that, we're going to reschedule Ryan McCormick coming up in June. And I reached out to and Adam Maiers, Engine Zero, absolutely stepped in and said, yeah, let's do this. So tonight's guest is Adam Maiers. He's been in the fire service since 2005. 4 departments, 2 states. He has instructed for and with Rogue Fire, Fire by Trade, Brothers in Battle, Jonathan Brumley. Man, Adam is the creator of Engine Zero. It's all about putting in the work without ego or excuse. He is a family man, father of 3, wonderful, supportive wife. My brother Adam, it is my pleasure to have you on Weekly Scrap number 186. Welcome, my brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked to be here.
I'm excited, man. It's going to be a good discussion. And people are already logging in.
Nice.
Garrett Crotty said, let's go with 5 O's. James Michelisco said, let's get it going. 3 Bugles firefighter in the house. Former truckie, got my non-toxic crayons ready to take notes. I love it.
Oh, great. We got a truckie. Oh,
yes. Hey, we can keep it simple. We can.
No, he's going to be so bored. We're going to talk so much engine now.
Smoothbore Cartel said, yes. Adam Melchi said, let's do this. Yee. Let's roll for Bradley Valiancourt. Okay. Making sure I had everything covered. Is there anything I missed in the intro? Anything you would like to add?
No, that's pretty much it, dude. I do want to, let me add one thing. And this is for my homie, Cody Tress Trail.
Okay.
He told me to not say this. And so I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say something else. I am somebody from somewhere, because everybody always from Brothers in Battle is too damn humble. So I'll break the ice with that.
You're the opposite of the nobody from nowhere.
Yeah, I used to be a nobody from nowhere, but look at me now.
Right on, brother.
From somewhere.
Kyle is here. Everybody in the audience, please get your questions in. Kyle is here. He is ready to grab them. He is ready to throw them at us. So if you have questions for Adam or myself, get them ready. The Vigilantes. I always want to hype the Vigilantes at the front. If you are not a member of the Vigilantes, go to firehousevigilance.com. You can sign up to be a member of the Vigilantes. It is getting really exciting to be a member of the Vigilantes. Not only do we have a forum once a month to talk about stuff and bring in special guests and specific topics, but we also are doing vigilante meetups when we are at conferences, and it's starting to get organized and serious. So I'm pretty excited about it. So go to firehousevigilance.com and become a member of the Vigilantes. Okay, with all that being said, let's do the important stuff. This episode is brought to you by Key Hose. Check them out on Facebook, The Hose Experts. Cool Work Designs. It is a firefighter owned and operated small business creating customized logo work gloves. You can choose from either a heavy-duty leather or mechanic touch glove. They offer 0 artwork fees and a free setup of renderings for each submitted logo. Check out the website for info. That's coolworkdesigns.com to get your set of America's most wanted work gloves today. Then there is the Affordable Drill Tower. Firefighter owned and operated. The only thing that you can't do in an affordable drill tower is live fire. Affordable Drill Tower. You can rappel, stretch hose lines, go through the stairs, go through the floor, do window bailouts, cut holes in the roof props, use the apartment balconies, pump into the FDIC, man, flow water from the sprinkler system. Call Steve, 844-55-TOWER, or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. And then finally, are you looking to streamline your fire and EMS training programs? Introducing the Fire Academy. Schedule, deliver, and track everything in your organization. Get the highest rated online training from industry leaders, backed by Fire Engineering, FDIC International, and GEMS. Sign up for your free trial today at thefireacademy.com. Okay, That
Ooh,
does it.
man, that was
All of yeah, it's a mouthful, man. There's a lot going on there. Let me see if I can catch everybody else. John Shackelford, my man, brother. He said, "Good evening, bro. Let's go." Chris Dye said, "Station 32, always here repping Southwest Virginia. Let's go." John McCoy, check, check, check. Mike checking, check him. And Jimmy Green said, "One of the best dudes, excited to listen in." All right, brother.
Nice. Hi, Jimmy.
Go ahead.
I just saw him. Oh, the heck's going on here? Oh,
Are you good?
yeah, I'm good. I'm just getting potential spam,
Oh, okay. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, 7 o'clock at night in Wyoming. Got to get potential spam. All right, what do we got?
I'm thinking where we're going to start. We're going to start with engine work. I really think we ought to start with engine work because you are engine zero.
Oh yeah.
Fire behavior, the lack of meaningful dialogue beyond the basics. Where do you want to go with it?
Well, you kind of asked for like some topics to talk about, and
right.
I think we do like a pretty poor job in the fire service of really breaking down fire behavior and like explaining it to our newer firefighters in a way that's going to help them in their decision making moving forward throughout the rest of their career, right? Like, if anybody's ever been through an academy and had to suffer through the book work and all that goes into that academy, you end up coming out of there with a basic understanding of physical science that you probably got when you were in elementary school, right? And like what they don't explain to you is the real world part of it, where we talk about the 5 stages of fire growth. Nobody ever tells the new guy that, hey, when you're going through the building, you might actually go through every stage of that. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what compartment you're in.
Right.
And so like those little things like help the decision-making process. And I don't think we do a very good job of breaking that down for people. Unless you've taken a nozzle forward class, like our version of fire behavior is at a kindergarten level compared to that class, right? And it's like, why isn't that being pushed more in the fire service? Why aren't we explaining things a little bit more to anybody from 18 years on up, right? Like, they're basically adults. Why don't we treat them like adults? Why are we treating them like they're in 6th grade and they have no understanding of the physical world? So
No. I love the not even philosophical. I love the question you're posing, and I want to throw it back at you and say, what is your theories on why you think that is the case? Just to spark discussion.
Right. And I'm not really sure like where the disconnect happens, like to really dive deep into the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it stems from the fact that, as humans, we're inherently lazy, right?
Like, yeah.
We're always trying to find the easy way out. Life's hard enough, right? Like, if we can find an easier way to get the job done, then life gets a whole lot better for us, right? So in the fire service, what made it easy? Fire engineering comes up with a curriculum, right? Or let's say, IFSTA comes up with a curriculum, right? That's a whole lot easier, right? And it's not a knock against them, right? Like, dude, we're trying to get everybody on the same page, and they did a great job of getting everybody on the same page. But how many editions have we gone through, right? Like, can we start adding depth to this to help our firefighters be, better decision makers on the fire ground, right? Like, if we really care about firefighter safety, how about we give them all the tools that we have available, right? Like, technology and science has evolved, but yet in the fire service, we're still teaching shit that I learned 20 years ago. So, you know what I mean? It's like, so, that's kind of the conversation, that's why I kind of brought up that topic, is to bring up that discussion, right? Like, as a firefighter in a company, right? Like, I would love to walk into my company and have these discussions with my officer and my engineer, right? Right out of the gates, if I was a brand new firefighter, right? Like, as I came in and they were teaching me firefighting, right? Like, the basics of fire behavior, right? Beyond convection, radiation, and friggin' conduction, like that shit I learned in elementary school. Right? like let's move past that. Tell me something that's actually going to, trigger decisions on the fire ground in real time that are going to either make it better for me or better for the civilians that I'm going in there for, right? Like,
so is it strictly teaching to certification, or strictly teaching to meet a checkbox? Is it driven by
it's,
money? Is it a
I,
combination?
I bet you it's all of those, to be honest.
Right.
Like, that's the thing is, like, if you allow other people to come up with a curriculum, right? They're going to do what they think's best. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's what the fire service kind of has gone with, right? But as a service in general, like, man, when are we as the firefighters going to start putting our foot down and put real shit in there that's actually going to help us, that's going to help that new guy, right? Because 5 seconds out the door, dude, they might drop the Super Bowl of structure fires, right?
Right.
And so, like, did Academy really get them ready for it? Right? Does conduction, convection, and radiation help them when they're wandering into their first structure fire? You know, and that's the thing is, like, over the course of 20 years, in the last 10, on my own accord, I've learned more about firefighting than I ever did in those first 10, right? Relying on what was given to me, right? As far as whether it was from an organization, whether it was from an outside, curriculum, whatever that case may be, right? Like, the case in point, how many guys have you had on your podcast or your live feed right now, right? I'm 186, right?
186, baby.
Right. So 186 dudes with probably a wealth of knowledge that, like, for some reason, like, is trickling out instead of flooding out to our younger firefighters or into our senior firefighters. Dude, there's people on 25 years that, like, dude, you drop some of that information, just as simple, like, hey man, did you know you're, like, walking through the 5 stages of fire growth to the seat of the fire? Like, dude, heads pop.
Right.
Oh, I really thought about it that way, right? And, like, that's just one tiny little aspect of fire behavior, right? Like, what about the classic, and again, I'm going to use Fields because he does it the best. If your head's at 4 feet high and you're retracting from heat, you can safely say it's 1,200 degrees above you, right? Like, those little things are trigger points that help. And, later on I think I sent out a thing that had trigger points in it, but these are trigger points that help us make good decisions, right? If we come to that point, we should have opened the line a long time ago, right? Like, so these are things that help us make decisions in the firefight. Why are we just trickling this out to people?
Right.
Anyway.
Yes, I love. I'm saying right with you. John Shackelford has a great question. He says,
Okay.
what do you think is the best way to start new recruits on fire behavior?
Being honest with them. Taking that curriculum and looking through it and figuring out what's actually useful and what's not. Right?
Okay.
Like, you always have to start with the basics, right? Because I don't know if, like, we just hired a guy that has no education whatsoever, or if he's a genius and part of Mensa, right? So, like, the thing is like, he's either, like, you're smart or dumb like I am, right? So the thing is you always have to start out basic, but, like, I don't really care how energy transfers through different objects or through time and space. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. When I'm sitting in the fire ground, like in a burning building, that is the last thing that's going through my, well, I wonder if this is convection or conduction or whatever, right? It's the very simple things. Hey, if you have a fire in a box, where's the heat going to go? It's going to go up till it can't go up anymore. And then what's it going to do? It's going to go out till it can't go out anymore. And then what's it going to do? It's going to come down until it can't come down anymore. Right? Like, just those simple things, right? Because, like, you start boring them with the minutia of scientific text, right? Like, dude, I'm sorry, but, like, I went to college. I hated every minute of it. I choked my way through it. But the thing is I left college with a degree, but I used that degree a fraction of the time I've been alive compared to being a firefighter, right? And so, like, the thing is I want stuff that actually pertains to what I'm actually doing. I don't need a whole lot of scientific definitions that you're going to test me on and write ridiculous questions that try to trick me. I need to know stuff that's going to help me make decisions when it's life and death, when we're in an IDLH environment, right? And so, you know, and is every fire life and death? No, I'm not saying that. But at the same time, like, what we do is we're a profession, right? Like, why can't we be professional about it? Why can't we dive a little bit deeper than just the surface? So
Sure. No, it's a great question, and it's an awesome thing that needs to be delved into and to figure out why we've gotten where we've gotten. Kyle, Smoothbore Cartel himself, is coming at you and saying, this isn't a question really so much as a statement, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. He said, the recognition prime decision making RPDM model is based on previous recognized situations to develop a satisfactory solution to the current problem. Unfortunately, most firefighters fail to understand the situations that they are in and therefore cannot analyze them to bank that experience.
correct. So why don't we make a curriculum that helps them do that?
Right on.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is like, we are a product of every experience we've ever had in our entire life is stored somewhere deep inside of us that we pull from, given any situation that we run into in life, right? So from when you were a little baby learning how to crawl to now, like, every one of those inputs is in there somewhere that you're drawing from to make a decision to what's presented in front of you. Why can't we build something that helps us do that in the environments that we're going into, right? And I'll bring up the DIY class. Like, the DIY class helps do that. Like, everybody thinks it's an engine company class. It's a decision-making class, right? It puts you in a position to make decisions where there's not a right or a wrong. There's just a decision that needs to be made, right? And those decisions that you're making affect someone else's life or your life, right? And how do you make those decisions, and how you learn from people that have been in situations similar to that, right? Like, all get wrapped into it to help these students make better decisions on the fire ground. What are, you know, the classic risk a lot to save a lot means absolutely nothing to me, right? Because I don't know what the situation is in front of me. But when you ask me to risk a lot and I have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience to draw from, my risk is going to be way more than if this is the first time I'm ever seeing it, or this is the first time I've ever thought about it. So anyway, dude, he's absolutely right. Like, but with his statement, like, we need to start developing our firefighters to make decisions in real time on tough calls, right? Like, stuff that you can't really put in a book, right? And you can't really test well, which doesn't make anybody a whole lot of money. So, like, when you stated, like, what is it? It's all those things, right?
It's all of them. So how do we, like, I feel like Ray McCormick said it best. He came on the scrap, I don't know, probably 30 episodes ago or so, and I don't want to misquote, but he basically said it's unfair to teach our young people coming into this fire service, you know, hands-on training where they go in and do something with some Class A fire in a Type 1 construction, and then that day when they leave and go report to duty, they could be going and taking on a sectional or a king-size foam mattress inside of a compartment, a 10 by 14 compartment. And we are setting them up for failure. And again, I'm paraphrasing, so I want to be very clear that I'm paraphrasing Ray. But how do you like? How do we take it back?
That's the thing, is like, we've allowed, and man, I'm going to catch a lot of hell for this.
Welcome to the scrap.
We've allowed safety to trump everything, right? Like, could you imagine if, like, the military was as safety conscious as we were going into a war? We would never win, right? Like, oh, everything's got to be super safe, and we got safety this, safety that. And the thing is like, hey, I got an idea. How about we all just be adults? All right. Nobody signed up to this job to go to a training and die. We understand that. We're adults, right? Then why are we putting people in situations to have like a gotcha moment, right? in a live building under live fire conditions, right? That we used to do as training all the time. And then somebody gets the bright idea like, oh, we'll put this gotcha moment in there, or we won't really think about fire behavior or how the fire is going to affect the building, this real building that we're lighting on fire, right? And then we're going to stuff a bunch of people in there and make them do a bunch of shit, right? And then they get hurt, or heaven forbid they die. And then next thing you know, we got the safety police coming down our throats saying we can't burn in real buildings anymore.
Right.
Right.
Or with real fuels, or
yeah,
or with people that look like firefighters, or with insert whatever. And here's the part, Adam, and I think you'll agree with this, is like every rule that exists is on the backs of someone that perished, usually in a tragic way that should not have happened. Correct. So I don't want to like just cast those aside like those don't matter.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to find a balance. Correct.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm saying as well. Like, we know the fire service is mostly written in blood, right?
Right.
And the thing is like, I'm not taking away from that in any regards, but the thing is to remove it wholeheartedly because of it takes away from everybody else, right? And the thing is like, can you imagine that, like, the first person that gets shot in a war, and we're like, yeah, we're not going to send those guys to the front anymore. Like, we're going to,
no more going to the front.
Right. And the thing is, dude, how many times have you heard we're a paramilitary operation and blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, then let's behave a little bit more like the military. Like, we understand the risk. We signed up for the risk, right? When we put our hand up and swore the oath, we signed up for a risk. Now, being intelligent humans, right? We all didn't sign up to die. So let's come up with a way that we can actually burn in real buildings with real things, where we take into consideration the fact that we're not going to, go in there rescuing an actual civilian today. It's training, right? So let's set up the training in a way and actually have a specific topic that we want to work on for that training, instead of just the mass chaos that is an actual structure fire, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is, I think we try too much stuff into some of these trainings, and especially in a live building with live fuels and in a training environment, we stuff way too much at these people, and then we wonder why it goes bad. So,
all right, I'm going to catch you up on a few comments. No, this is comments coming. Hey, audience, get your questions in, but here's comments coming. Amanda Miller said, the safety culture is a reaction to the results of an anti-training culture. Firefighters get hurt when their training and leadership fails them. Fix the training, fix the leadership. I love that mindset. Absolutely. Adam Melkai says, the safety culture's reaction, all that. They also get hurt because they spend too much time in the recliner and not enough time working out. Going on, I'm reading more to you. Garrett Crody said, Adam, and I wanted to follow up on this earlier, but Garrett Crody said, Adam, can you finish the scrap in your best DIY costume? But I wanted to build off that and ask you, for those that don't know DIY, what you mean by DIY Engine and Go.
So it's a class that it started out under Rogue Fire. We merged with Brothers in Battle, but it's a single engine responding to a structure fire. Nobody else is showing up to this fire. There's 3 people on the engine, and there's victims inside, and there's fire. And so the class is designed to drive home the importance of some of the basics, right? Being good at getting your gear on quickly, right? Being good at stretching a hose line, being good at forcing a door, being good at doing a fire attack and then coming across victims and only having 3 people. And what are you going to do, right? Some of these tough decisions, right? You crack the door and you're not masked up and there's a victim 8 feet inside. What are you going to do, right? What academy teaches our new students what to do in that situation? None. Right? And I can't teach them that either, because it's a risk that they have to be willing to take to either put their gear on quickly and get in there and get the job done, or some will just take a quick breath, hold it, and go in there and try to make the grab, right? But the thing is I'm not there to tell them what to do. I'm there to show them the decisions that they're going to have to make, right? And the class is more decision making than it is anything else, really. It's diving deep into the minds of the students to show them like, hey, there's going to be times where there's no SOG that you can fall back on to go save a life. For lack of a better way of putting it, to play God for that few seconds, right?
Right.
And that's the thing is, so I don't think as the fire service, we ever really dive into those tough decision-making, algorithms.
Right.
That
No,
come
dude, that's
upon us.
100%. We do
You know?
not teach people how to make decisions. We teach people how to check boxes.
Right. And the thing is
that's a broad brush. I get it.
I
That's a
know.
broad. There's people that do it, but as a rule, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, I've heard plenty of stories from a lot of my friends in different departments around the country that have made really, really good decisions that, like, from the outside, some people would be like, I wouldn't have done that. Right. And the thing is it's like, yeah, well, it's what you're willing to risk. Like,
right.
Have you thought about it? Have you trained yourself to think about that when you're doing your trainings? Like, there's a lot more to training than just the skills, right? There's the mindset that goes with it as well.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I love it. And this is all based off of me asking you one question of our planned topics. So it's really good. So audience, please keep on throwing your questions and your comments at us. The lack of meaningful dialogue beyond the basics, water application beyond the basics of spray and pray. Both of those seem kind of tied to each other. So I wanted to throw them at you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, what are we teaching people on how to water map a room? Right. Like, unless you're following Ray McCormick or Dennis Laguerre or, any of the guys that are talking about it.
Yes. West
Dude,
Coast.
you can't expect the new guys to find those guys, right? Like, I don't know how many years it took me to find people that actually could teach me something.
Right.
And the thing is like, why can't we talk about, like, why isn't that in every frigging manual? When you enter a compartment, how do you water map that compartment to cool it down, to make those gases contract, right? To put the fire out. Sorry.
No. You got me fired up. So it's like, there's so many people that still say, like, you keep the nozzle closed until you get to the scene of the fire when you're in the room, like, away. And it's like, no, you coat everything.
But think of how many thousands of dollars the UL put in to, like, their studies to show us that, hey man, like, an open line, even if you're not even in the compartment, helps. Right?
Yes.
It, like,
helps everybody, not just you, all those victims.
You can't tell me that somebody back in the day didn't already know that. Why is this knowledge being lost?
No,
right?
1000%.
And why isn't it being shared? Right. And, like, I'll give you, technology has made sharing information way easier, and it happens faster and faster, right? As the new apps and programs come about, right? Like, this conversation, we would have never had this conversation, 20 years ago. Right? Like, face to face, but miles apart. Right.
Right.
And the thing is so, like, that has been one hindrance, but at the same time, like, dude, there's been plenty of publications, right? There's been plenty of magazines. There's been plenty of companies that have put out curriculums, right? Like, where's the disconnect? Like, why aren't we passing this information along? You open high, you work close to far away. The reach of your nozzle is 25 feet. If you're in a residential structure, you're never more than 25 feet from an exit. You know what I mean? Like, your stream reach from the front door can hit the back of the house, right? Like, all those little things that help us make decisions, right? It goes right back into kind of what I was leading into with fire behavior, right? Like, these are all decision-making applications that get missed, right?
Absolutely.
In a generic curriculum to teach people what they should have learned in, when they were going through public school.
And also a risk aversion based curriculum.
Right.
which I think is a very important aspect to throw into it. And it's not to throw rocks. It's just when you base it off of how do we make it safe, it's not safe. It's about being good to mitigate the danger.
Right. We're professionals, right?
Yes.
I don't care if you're on a volunteer department. The fire service is a profession,
Yes.
right? Like why wouldn't we try to be professional about everything that we do? Right. So that's the thing is like, do you think NFL teams are starting their starting lineup? They're running through freaking, flag football techniques? No. You know what I mean? Like, so
No, absolutely.
and that's the thing is like, they got to start somewhere, right? And not everybody was born into the fire service, right? We build them, but let's start building them right.
No, I like it. I like it. I love it. Gregory Van Ham wants to know, Greg Van Ham, could it be most fires are room and contents? That's fair.
That is fair.
Versus a full blowing fire roaring out the doors and I lost it. Roaring out the windows that they don't open the bell.
It could be, right? Like that's the thing is like we're creatures of the Rolodex of things that we've been exposed to, right? But the thing is if you were never taught to open the bail in the first place,
right?
When you encounter heat, like then why are we knocking them for never opening the bail?
Right? No. I mean, I love Brian.
Yeah.
Brush is my hero. I'll be honest with you. And he says, man, we fight conditions. We fight conditions all the way in, and then we fight fire, man. You open that nozzle.
Yeah. Dude, an open nozzle is an open invitation to life right there. So.
Absolutely. Dude, I love it. So that we've almost made it through question topic 1. We've almost made it through.
This could be an epic.
Flowing and moving. The secret is in the pursuit.
Yeah. It's funny because like you see somebody flowing and moving, right? Whether you saw it in a class or you saw it on a video, whatever the case may be, right? And this is how I learned it, right? I went to a class, right, and was taught a way to do it, and then I got home and I couldn't do it, right? And part of me was like, well, maybe it's just because I don't have a partner, shagging hose behind me,
sure,
right? And that could possibly be it, but at the same time, like, I mean, I got body by gulag, but like I still have some muscle to me, so I can pull some hose, right?
I like it.
And so anyway, the thing is in the process of trying to teach myself what I had already forgotten from the class that I took, right, to the videos that I watched, right? Like it's not easy. It's not easy when you are trying to learn something new, right? And the thing is I think a lot of times we get super frustrated, we get down on ourselves, and then we kind of abandon the thought or the process, right? And in the pursuit of that skill is when you really start to figure out what actually works for you, because what works for me might not work for you, right? If you're somebody that had knee surgery, dude, I've never had knee surgery. I'm flexible, kind of like Gumby for some dumb reason. Don't ask me how. I don't really stretch that much, right? But the thing is I'm able to get myself into some of these positions that some people just can't get into. But until you actually go out and you put the time in and you really try to understand what is holding you up and what is making you successful, like once you dive into that pursuit, you find that flowing and moving really isn't that hard. What's hard is understanding how to make your body do it, right? It's unnatural, right? Like for a lot of those positions to try to hold your balance while holding nozzle reaction, right? And pull weight at the same time. But once you start to figure out what works, in like a couple of little tips and tricks that you learn along the way, right, from just asking questions of people that actually do it, right, you learn to find out that, man, it really isn't that hard. And like I always explain it in classes, like you set up these goalposts, right, in your mind of like what's working and what's not working, right? And those goalposts, the more you start to do it, start to widen. So the goal becomes easier to make.
Easier to hit.
Right. And the thing is it's only in doing it a bunch of times that your mind starts to let the body do the work, right? And your body will figure out what's comfortable, right? There's a reason why the 7/8 nozzle is America's tip. That nozzle has the perfect nozzle reaction.
Nozzle reaction, right on.
Right. Dude, if you were to just blind taste test people, right, and just put a blindfold on them and stuff a nozzle in their hand, they had no idea what was on the tip of it, and you start adjusting pressures, the 7/8 at 50 psi would be like butter in their hands. They would be like, man, this nozzle feels awesome, right? Hence why everybody loves it. Does that make sense? Like, and the thing is,
absolutely. When you say everybody, it's like always and never. So I would say I can think of a few people that might argue about the 15th, 16th, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not my point, because I believe in the 7/8, 100%.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, dude, just do a blind taste test, right? Go grab somebody off the street. I guarantee you, they'll be, man, that 7/8 is money.
I love it. Okay, so there are people are making a lot of comments, and I can't even keep up with them. A lot of comments coming in, not a lot of questions coming in. So I want to read this one because I like it. It's from Smoothbore Cartel. It's the reason I'm reading. I haven't even read it yet. Homework assignments for all scrappers, and it went away. Find Adam's YouTube channel and watch all of the videos, especially Wash Away, The Dark Art Project, and Falling Down.
I don't know if
Adam has given you all of the ingredients to be a successful backstep. So there you go. That's the life hack right there.
I don't know if maybe I just logged out of it. I don't know ask him if it's still up, if he can comment back if it's even still up. Like
He'll comment back. He's on top of it. But here's the deal, man. Obviously, you're very engaging, and because people are not asking a lot of questions, the audience is not asking a lot of questions. That's okay. That's not a knock. I'm saying that happens whenever there is so much. Smoothbore Cartel said it is still up.
Oh, perfect. All right, I didn't erase it.
But with that being said, I want to ask you, Adam. Would you rather talk about the next topic, surge or instruction in the fire service? I'm throwing it at you.
All right, let me just touch on search and then we'll dive on to the next one.
That's why I asked search. Go.
Yeah, because the problem is, and that's why I put orientation and statistics, right? Like, so like there's still a problem in the fire service of left-hand, right-hand search. I still don't understand why, right? Like we have statistics that are being generated every day from fires all across this country with rescues, right? That are telling us valuable information, right? And that valuable information is where we're finding victims, the conditions that we're finding them in, right? Now, if it's in a residential, and we're going to take commercial out of this topic, all right? Because commercial is a whole nother animal.
Sure.
Right?
Well, residential only. Let's go.
Yeah. Why are we doing left-hand searches when we should know the layout of the building from the street, right? Like the thing is when we talk about building construction, we talk about how the building's put together. We don't really talk about like the everyday stuff that we walk past, right? Like how big is a typical bedroom? How long is a typical hallway, right? What does a big window in the front mean, right? Like what do two like medium-sized windows and a small window in between tell you, right? Bedroom, bath, bedroom. All these little things tell you the layout, right? And there's not that many layouts to residential buildings. Again, we as humans are pretty lazy.
Right.
Like we only come up when we're building a neighborhood with 3 to 5 different building layouts, right? So that you're not sitting next door to the house that you're living in and it's the exact same layout. It's 2 houses down and we don't pay attention to that part, right? So the thing is a 2-story is a 2-story is a 2-story. There might be some subtle differences, right? But from the outside, we should have a very good understanding of how it's laid out on the inside. And the layout helps us with our decision-making skills for orientation. Where am I at in this structure, right? Knowing that I'm no more than 25 feet from the exterior of a residential house, when I go in for search, I shouldn't have to worry about all sorts of weird rich shit, right? Because I know that I went into a house that I can easily blast through the wall with a foot if I need to, right? Not saying to do that, bring
Right.
it to, right? But the thing is like, we lose a lot in how we communicate with each other, right? And the thing is like, I learned more about building construction from the layout of a house than I could give a shit about building the house, right? Like, I don't care how the house is built. I care about how the rooms are laid out, because I need to go into those rooms, because last time I checked, people aren't dying in the attic, right? They're dying in bedrooms, right?
Nice.
They're dying in passive egress. So like,
Nice.
I need to know where those passive egress are. I need to know where the bedrooms are, right? I need to know how to get there quickly, right? And so that's orientation. That's looking at the statistics, right? We dive into all this other goofy shit, right? When we look at the numbers, dude, like this blew me away today. I was like, I got to get, dive back into the statistics a little bit more.
Sure.
Search, we're finding people, was it 52% of the time with just our eyes? 7% are using a tick. 7%.
Now, and
don't get me wrong, the tick's a powerful tool, but
I love that. But I just took Andy Starnes' class, so I love Starnes, you know what I'm saying? And if anybody knows Starnes,
hey, it's not a knock on
no, but I'm saying it's like, how many people are trained in using the tick, and how much does that translate into the data?
Right. True. Absolutely.
So I don't want, I want to defend that part of it, because
that's a good open dialogue, right?
No, 100%, because
and that's the thing is like, I mean, no offense by anything that I'm saying here tonight.
No,
and
absolutely. And I
sure
don't
I'm
take
triggering people left and right with this conversation.
Hopefully so, because it's good topics.
But the thing is like, right. The other thing too is like, so our ears, right? How many people are paying attention with their ears?
Yes.
13% were found by just hearing a cough, a cry, whatever it is, right? Like using their ears. Dude, nobody told me that when I started the fire. Hey, use your ears. Right? Like, dude, it's one of the first things that goes when we're stressed out. But like, the thing is like, hey man, like if you're not stressed out in that environment, dude, your ears are gonna help you 13% of the time, right?
Right.
These are good things. Like, we need to start actually looking at this stuff, and then building this into how we instruct our firefighters, right? To make them better, right? When you pop up that door, live fire layout and call out, right? Like,
yes.
That call out saves you a lot of time and energy finding somebody when you can hear them cough and go straight to them. So anyway,
I got a couple to read to you.
Okay.
I'm going to try to see if I can find them all. Smoothbore, most of them are from Smoothbore Cartel. It's just a box full of boxes, and you brought what you need to punch the boogeyman in the face. 100%, man. The nozzle is the answer. The bell is the answer. But I like this part. Smoothbore Cartel said, except for the part about IFSTA, he meant to offend them, as he should. And they got a lot of reactions, so I had to read it out loud.
I'm in so much
Nate
trouble.
Sturm said, amen, Adam. For those who started 20 plus years ago, it was a different time and a different beast. So what we were taught may have applied then, but not today. Shame on us if we aren't using the data that's out there and not changing our ways. Fire service is ever evolving. Numbers don't lie, and I'm mind blown that we aren't paying attention to it.
Correct. Yeah, it is. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
Dude, I hired on in 97. You were 2004. And I'm telling you, they told me back then, like, you do not open the nozzle until you get to the seat of the fire.
Yeah, until you see the red of their eyes. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And that is a recipe for getting caught in a flashover, period, nowadays. Period.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
If you are in an enclosed structure and it is burning, that is a recipe for disaster. You open that nozzle and we will save lives.
Correct. Okay, we can move on.
If you want. All right. Me and Adam both fired. Where were we at? Instructing in the fire service.
Yeah. Man, so when I started in the fire service, I was blessed. I had a really good instructor when I started out, a really good training officer. And he in his passion to share knowledge, he instilled that in me. Right. And so I took every opportunity, after the first few years to, help in any way I could, whether it was an academy or just, teaching for, the Tuesday night trainings for our volunteer department, whatever the case was. Right. And so the thing is like, teaching to me was always trying to pass along the lessons that I learned, some of them the hard way, some of them the easy way. Right. But like to make the fire service better. Now, and this is probably going to trigger somebody, and I apologize if it does, but some people are in it for their own, self-worth.
Absolutely.
So, and the thing is like, the problem with that is when you're trying to make a name for yourself, right? Like, are you actually trying to make somebody better? Or are you just trying to look good? And why I bring it up is because a lot of times, a lot of the training scars are brought up by people that should have never been an instructor in the first place, because all they're passing along is the abuse that was given to them, and they're passing along to make themselves feel better to the next generation. And you see it quite a bit, right? Like we were just talking about search, right? If you're teaching people search, how many in any of those surveys found a victim on top of a counter? And why are we putting victims on top of a counter? Right? Stupid shit like that in the training world to new people, right? Just to show them, hey, I got you. Like, you didn't find the victim, right? Like, those build in training scars, right? Don't open the line until you see the fire. Training scars, right? Like those training scars have long lasting effects, right? Crawl on all fours, right? Training scars. I put down towards the bottom of some of the stuff I want to talk about, but I'll talk about it right now. When you learn something, you build a neural pathway from your mind to your muscles that tell your muscles what you want them to do, right? The second you build that, it is so hard, that neural pathway, once you built it, it's so hard to get rid of it, to bisect from it and go down a different path takes even more energy and effort than it was just to learn the wrong way, right out of the gates.
Right. No, absolutely.
So the thing is with instructing, like, instructors need to really think about those training scars, and are we building training scars into what we're trying to teach, right? My wife's a coach and she coaches soccer, right? And so I was trying to come up with some stuff I wanted to talk about, and that's where she put in as an instructor, you're the facilitator, right? You're facilitating the instruction. Like, take it seriously, have a purpose, right? And it's about the student's discovery, right? Like helping them discover the right way to go about something, right? And it depends on if you're teaching as in a group or to the individual, right? How we communicate to the group is different than how we communicate to an individual, because the individual has some little nuance that's particular to them, right? And are we addressing that when we step to the side with them? Are we able to communicate with them well enough to get that point across, right? And these are things that I've encountered when I've been instructing as well. Like, sometimes the way I deliver it hits half the group, right? And then the other half is like, I don't understand. And so I have to change how I deliver it and the words that I use, or how I'm actually showing them, to try to get that to sink in and to set and so that they have a good understanding before we move on, right? And that all happens in seconds. But the thing is like, as an instructor, we have to be in tune to that, because the thing is, like, the second we create a neural pathway for a skill and it's not right, like, it's so hard to undo it.
It's ingrained into the lizard brain, and if things are hard and charging, man, you're gonna fall back to it.
Exactly.
There's the thing I do where I take a break and I hit the head, because that's about to happen. And I only do this with people I extremely trust. So I hope you understand how much I trust you with the scrap. But I'm about to set this headset down, and I want to
Okay.
ask you. I want to ask you about the tide that lifts all ships,
Okay.
and let you talk about it. And I'll be back in a few.
Okay, cool. Perfect. All right. The tide that lifts all ships. All right. So as a student of life, right, I found myself drawn to a few specific podcasts that were all about skill acquisition, being a better person, whatever the case may be. And one of the good ones that I really liked was Finding Mastery. And I think I really enjoyed it because I was trying to find mastery in flowing and moving at the time, and was hitting a bunch of roadblocks. But anyway, the guy Michael Gervais, who runs that podcast, threw out that quote, "Be the tide that lifts all ships," and it's actually, I believe, from John F. Kennedy, said it first. So I'll give him the credit for that. And it really hit home for me because as an instructor, like that's our job, right? Is to go out and to make the fire service better. And so for me, when I usually finish a class, I get kind of emotional, based on a lot of stuff that's happened to me in the past. And I always pass along that quote: "Be the tide that lifts all ships." Be the person that is making your department better. Sometimes it may not seem that way, right? There's going to be roadblocks, but at the end of the day, like when you go home at the end of your shift, like, did you lift all ships? Did you make it somewhat better in any facet of the meaning of it, right? And that's kind of the goal of that quote. All right, he's back. I tried to explain it to the best I could. You're gonna have to rewind it to hear it all.
The
But
part where I come back in and just like act like I know everything you said while I was gone.
right, yeah. You know, I went a little deep, but that's all
Man,
right.
there are so many comments I can't even catch up. So it must have been good. I have to catch up on it. Chris Dye said, "Preach on it. Leave it better than you found it." Hell yes.
And that's the
Emotions
thing.
are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm just reading comments.
Keep
It's
reading,
like
dude.
I'm coming in blind. Emotions are everything. You got to be that member that invokes change. Man, there's so much coming at you. Oh yeah, he understands for sure. Psychomotor versus cognitive versus unreal. Big's word. He said, "Big words ain't for truckies, old son." That's from John McCoy.
Sorry, buddy.
I love it, man. I love it, brother. No, I knew it was a good topic. Yes, I get tied up in emotions. Also, Chris Dye said, "I love it." Absolutely. Man, there's so many things I want to throw at you, and I'm trying to also not leave anybody out who's throwing questions. If you got questions, throw them.
Yeah, dude, ask.
I'm looking here. Ego. Yes, I got it. Why? The basics, man. I love this concept because I've never heard it before. But the basics are boring and the complex exciting. Man, talk to me about that perception.
Think about anything in the fire service, right? Like, who wants to go stretch hose? Right? Like, I can tell you right now, like, from my experience, right? Like, I know how to stretch hose. Like, how hard can it be? Right?
And I hear it from like people that don't want to go stretch hose and say, "What, you don't know how to stretch hose?"
Yeah.
Like that's
There's fine art to stretching hose, right?
Yes.
It seems super simple, right? But when it's done wrong, has catastrophic effects, right? And the thing is it's like sometimes the simplest things are the most complex when you actually go out and start working on them, right? I'll go back to flowing and moving, right? Or
Okay.
let's just go to a simple water mapping, any of those topics, right? Like going out and trying to figure these things out, right? Like shit, how hard can it be, right? Like just open the line and move the line around, right? Until you actually go out and do it. And then when you go out and do it, then you start to have more understanding of what it's actually doing, right? And maybe you start in a parking lot and then you end up in a box somewhere. Maybe it's on the training ground, maybe it's at an acquired structure, and you're flowing that line and you're actually watching what is actually happening, and the
Right.
complexity of all of that in something so simple as just going out and flowing a line, right? Like they seem really boring. A smooth bore seems boring, right? Like it's not complicated. It's like a light switch. It's on or off, right? But light switches are in every house in America. Every building in America has a light switch, right? Why do they have a light switch? Because in its simplicity, it creates all sorts of things that are more complex than we ever give it credit for, right?
Right.
Electricity to me is like magic, right?
Yeah. 100%. It's a magic.
And guess
wand.
what? The light switch somehow makes it work, right? And the thing is that's the same thing with a nozzle. A smoothbore nozzle is as simple as it gets, right?
Yes. Yes.
And there's complexity in that, because if you really think about it, it's the safest nozzle on the planet. It's just a simple hole, right? With a gate, an on-off switch. You open it, it turns on. You shut it, it goes off. I don't have to worry about some mechanical piece in there coming apart or getting clogged up or jammed up, or lo and behold, it gets dirty and now I can't twist it, turn it, flip it up, flip it down, all this jazz hand shit that they put into all this stuff to make it more complicated, right? When in all reality, all I needed to do is open up and deliver water. And I don't need it to jam up. I don't need it to be complicated. But it's the simple things that people look past because they look at the shiny, cool thing, right? Oh, this one's all sorts of whiz bang gizmos and gadgets, right? You know, I think Elkhart did it best when they put out the tactical nozzle, right? Like, look at all the goofy shit we can strap onto a nozzle, right? And everybody's like, ooh, oh, right? And like, I doubt anybody walked past their booth and even looked at a smoothbore nozzle because it's so damn simple, right? The thing is what they don't understand is how much time and effort it went in to coming up with something so simple, dialing it in from all the myriad of sizes to choose from, right? Like back in the day, dude, they had like if you could figure out a measurement, they were trying to figure out if it was the right measurement to deliver water appropriately, right? Like that's pretty complicated. That's a lot of complications in a time
over time.
Yeah. In a time where that meant a lot of work, right? And yet they still went out and did it. And I don't think we give people credit for simple systems, right? Like we overcomplicate the shit out of the fire service with everything we do, right? Whether it's our rigs to our hose to like, dude, how many different styles of hose do we have? Right. And it's like, hey man, like give me one that actually works. And that's the only one I want. Keep it simple, make it somewhat fire,
oh, dude, you're gonna get me so fired up right now about why we're where we're at. But that's not the point. That's not the point of this scrap. But David Byerly wants to know, and I have a question coming at you from the audience.
Okay, yeah,
it's on topic from what we've been talking about, but not on the specific one right now. What do you do? And we get this question a lot, so I want to, what do you do when you feel in your bones that what you are saying and doing is the best interest of the department, but you're getting constant pushback from the guys that you relieve or that relieve you? Yeah, I know, man. Go ahead.
Constant pushback. Well, let's see. Let me put it the easiest way I know how, and then I'll dive into it better.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Right.
And you eat a whale one bite at a time, right? And the thing is like, I don't know if they're senior to you, younger to you, whatever. But at some point they retire, right? And they disappear, right? The biggest thing is if you know it to be true in your bones and it is true to you, then why would you change you? Be yourself. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't be a dick about it, right? You don't have to be an asshole. The thing is, though, is that you can stand up and for what you believe in. Everybody has that freedom here, right? And yeah, it may not be the popular one. And yeah, you're going to catch some shit. Trust me, I've eaten a lot of shit sandwiches in my day, right? But the thing is, it's not going to change what I believe is right. So I feel for you, like, but at the same time, like sometimes don't engage too. Like,
no, I love it. I love
there's
it.
a lot of times I don't engage. Like, don't fall into the honey trap, right? Because they're trying to catch bears. So,
I'm looking, I'm reading. There's a lot of stuff about Freeman. I love it. Someone said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication from
it is.
Claire. Scott Vatican posted that quote from Claire Booth Lucent. And I don't know who said it, but anybody can take a concept and make it and complicate it. It
Oh, yeah.
takes true mastery to simplify it.
Correct.
Man, and I love that concept 100%. It might have been Einstein, and it might have been like Mark Twain, but someone along those lines said it.
Well, and so I'll put it to you this way, right? Like,
Hit it.
one of the most favorite aircrafts in all the military is the A-10.
Yes, the
most unsophisticated aircraft ever built. It's basically an engine and a bunch of mechanical parts and pieces, right? But it is the most loved aircraft because of its simplicity and the fact that it doesn't have all the whiz bang cool shit that some of the newer fighter planes have, right? Some of that shit falls apart. Like, dude, we keep putting electronics in shit. When are we going to realize, dude, every year people are buying new iPhones for a reason, right? It's because that technology falls apart quick, right? Old school mechanical systems, there's a reason why they built them, so they could friggin' repair them out in the field. If something broke, they were easily repaired. Like, we don't give the past a whole lot of credit for the shit that they came up with and how simple it may have seemed at the time, but how actually complex it is in the real world, right? Like, old school automobiles, right? Like, dude, you used to be able to climb under the hood and just look at it and be like, oh yeah, I think I can figure this out, right? Nowadays, dude, if you don't know shit about computers, you're screwed, right? So, like, I open up my wife's car's hood and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I think there's an engine in there, but I'm not 100% sure, right? And so the thing is like, we've overcomplicated automobiles. All they need to do is convert gas into compression and turn some wheels. Like, dude, they don't need to be anything special.
I can say you hit a nerve with the A-10 because there's been about 14 comments that are all about Warthogs. That's my aircraft. Love working with the A-10. Burp, flying tank. A-10 is the best. Ask any ground soldier. Did we just become best friends? So that's all from talking about the A-10. So 100% you hit a nerve.
I'm telling you, dude, that's the thing, is everybody loves the A-10. And the thing is that thing will show back up to the airport or the landing strip completely riddled in holes, but still able to fly.
Right on.
It's what made the B-52 so great. Dude, that thing would come home with huge holes in it from all the flack that it was taking, but yet it still flew and they were still able to fly it because they were old school mechanical systems, right? Like, systems actually worked that in today's day and age seem too simple, right? We need to complicate the shit out of it. We don't. Stop making it so complicated.
A lot of parallels to the fire service.
Anyway.
Where are we at? Instruction, we got that. Why the basics are boring, we got that. I'm in that. Engine Zero, man. Talk to me about Engine Zero, where it came from, why it exists.
Has anybody ever had somebody tell them, hey man, we can't go do that because we can't take the rig out of service? Yeah, well, I heard that. I heard that a lot, right? And so I was like, I wanted to work on the simplest thing, flowing water, right? How to hold a hand line. And not with a stupid pistol grip. I don't know who came up with that, but they overcomplicated a simple system, right? And the thing is so I wanted to go learn that. Well, you know, most people think like you need an engine to go do it. And it's like, well, there's a hydrant out there. Our hydrants in our town are pretty hot. I bet you it's pretty close. So I can go out and just tie straight into the hydrant, and the hydrant would become my engine, and I don't have to take our engine out of service. Right. And so that kind of became what Engine Zero kind of stemmed from, right? Because it was just like, oh, like I'll just go out to my engine and we'll just call it Engine Zero, right? Because
Right.
that way people aren't getting pissed, like, oh, he keeps calling it Engine 3, right? Or whatever the case may be. So I don't want to trigger too many people. But that's the thing, and that's where it came from. It was constantly being told, like, hey man, like that's going to involve us taking the rig out of service, or like being tied up to a hydrant or whatever the case may be, right? Like there's a million excuses, right? But if you can just look past those and find an alternative way to do it, right? Like
Getting
then go
it done.
do it. Yeah. It's real easy to just be like, oh yeah, you're right, and then be done with it. It takes a lot to climb that first wall of, hey, I'm just gonna go grab the spare hose on the rack over there and a spare nozzle and just go out and work on some stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna go stretch some lines, right? I don't need, I just need some hose.
That's it, man. I didn't even know hose and a nozzle.
Yep.
I got a book question coming at you, but that's coming up in a bit. What is the consensus on moving the fire service to a continuous education system, a CEU, for maintenance of fire certification? What do you think on that? I like the chuckle. I like the chuckle before the answer. I'm now intrigued.
Oh, I don't know. I'll put it this way, right? Like,
okay,
C's get degrees. And what I mean by that is like, dude, you're going to go to a doctor sometime in your life that fucking skated by with maybe a C minus, right? And the thing is it doesn't make him any less than a doctor or of a doctor, right? He still got his doctor. He still has to go through CEUs every year, but he might be the shittiest doctor you've ever ran across. Do CEUs really make you a good firefighter? Right?
I'll say no. Yeah, I'll say it. I don't give a shit.
Well, and that's the thing is like, for some people it's yes, and some people it's no. But the thing is like, irregardless, like no piece of paper, right? Because there's plenty
unless we overhaul what constitutes an educational unit, then no.
Correct. And the thing is it's up to us, right? We're the firefighters, right? We're the ground pounders out there seeing it every day.
Yes.
We're not behind a desk, right? We're not going to finger sandwich meetings, right? We're the ones on the street doing that shit. Like, it's time we start having a bigger say in how we educate the fire service, right? For the benefit of the fire service, so that we are the tide that's lifting all ships, whether they're new or old. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if you want CEUs, then figure out a better way to do CEUs, because right now, dude, look at EMS, dude. Fucking, there's plenty of people phoning in CEUs for EMS, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so I don't know if I really
hazmat ops, hazmat techs, anything where there is required educational unit required, you will find money tied to it, and you will find an educational institution making money off of that requirement, and it has nothing to do with doing the job. And I will say it here live on the scrap, and you can quote me, and I hope you do. So
I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate. Something, I'm not on social media, so yeah, I guess. Good luck.
Adam Maiers and at Adam Maiers at hotmail.com. I don't know if that's real, but welcome.
Whoever has that account's going to get blasted.
Slammed.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't know if I answered his question or not, but the thing is like, we need to really start taking ownership in how we go forward in the fire service, educating ourselves.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And it is, dude, the internet has helped. Like, there's a lot of people that poo-poo it. Dude, it has helped so many people.
It has shrunk the fire service without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Exactly. And the best part about firefighters is, like, we're always there to help. Right? Like, I can call you tomorrow with a question of something that, like, I'm stuck on, and get your perspective on it. and your knowledge base off of it, and you'll gladly share it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the cool
And
part
that's
is like, I could, like, if I didn't know, I could call like Brian Brush or insert, whoever that I've talked to on a show.
yeah,
And that's the cool part for me, is the network is amazing.
yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, I was terrified when I first dove into some of the stuff on hose and nozzles. Like I wanted to talk to Dennis Laguerre, but I was like, holy shit, like, dude, there's no way this guy's going to take time out of his day to chat with me.
Right
And
on.
so I picked the low hanging fruit. I picked Gary Lane instead.
Love it.
He seemed more my speed at the time.
Dude, I love the fact that Engine Zero comes down to the fact that there is no engine available. And I didn't know that. I really didn't know that till this scrap. And it's pretty awesome, man.
Well, and that's the thing is, dude, excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got them, right? Like the thing is like trying to figure out, like, if you really want to learn, if you really want to know if you can do something or not, right? You'll find a way. You'll bypass those excuses and find a way to get it done. Right. And that's the thing is that's Engine Zero to a nutshell. I got told no so many times that finally I just went and did it on my own.
On your own,
with
without
stuff
permission.
and with stuff that wasn't going to get me in trouble, right? Like, how can you argue? I didn't take the rig out of service.
Right.
Like I didn't tie it up to the hydrant. I didn't pull the engineer out from what he wanted to do. Right. Like it's something I wanted to do, and I don't want to be a load on you guys. So let me just erase the excuse real quick and I'll just go do it.
Beautiful.
So
Kyle says, ask him how many times he has purposely fallen down stretching hose to find a way to fix it.
I did it a lot until I almost broke my clavicle doing it one time. So then I like stopped for a little bit, but a lot. I don't know how many times, Kyle, but it's a lot.
A lot. Man, dude, I love books. I love books more than anything in this world. I love books more than podcasts. I love books almost as much as firefighting, but I love to ask. Kyle said thousands. But I love asking about people I respect. What book or books have you read that you think firefighters should be reading? And I want to tie in Scott Vatican's question, because he said, what books are you reading that are laser focused on the brilliance in the basics concept? So kind of a two-pronged question coming at you.
Wow. All right. Geez, I got to think about this.
No problem. It's just,
yeah. Hold on. Let me look at my bookshelf real quick. Which ones are over there? Man, there's a lot. I don't know. To be laser focused on stuff. God, there's Dan Coyle. What did he write? Damn it. I can't think of the book off the top of my head. You caught me.
Coyle?
Yeah.
Was he Culture Code?
Yeah, Culture Code. That's a good one. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, dude, Culture Code's one of my favorite. Talent Code also, but yeah,
100%. Yeah. Both of those are really good. I like those. I really dove into a guy by the name of John Boyd. Boyd. Boyd.
Are you talking about OODA loops? Yeah.
Yep.
The loops? Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And so like there's someone else I think wrote this one, The Mind of War, about him. But he also there's been a bunch of books written about him, but like also just he had I forget what it was called, the Green Book or something like that. It's pretty hard to find. It's only in like PDF form. But anyway, he was a strategist for the military.
Yes.
And he developed the OODA loop, right? And a lot of people, kind of just gloss over the OODA loop for what it technically stands for. There's a lot into it. But if you're looking at systems and a systems approach to anything, like it's pretty helpful in that regards. And so like it's helped me think about taking complex systems and making them less complex, as simple as you can make them, right? And tying that into the fire service, right? Like a lot of the books that I read don't have anything to do with the fire service, but have a lot to do with the fire service, right? So, like thinking about the neurological pathways and the myelin and how to, the myelin is basically the insulation to your electrical wire, right? The more insulation you have, the better you can transfer energy through that metal, right? And so the myelin is like that for your nervous system.
Right on.
So just stuff like that, like I always try to, like for some reason it always links back to the fire service and how I can be better at the fire service. So anyway, I don't know if that answered a whole lot.
No, it's great. I just want to know. Personally, I want to know more books about the myelin now.
There's a bunch of like different podcasts
Okay.
that like kind of talk about it. That Finding Mastery has a few that are in there about
Okay.
the neurological stuff, but there was is it called the what was it called? It's like instead of like computer hackers, they're anyway, I'll send it to you. Sorry.
Okay. No.
My brain's falling apart.
I'll post it in the comments for people who are also interested. So, my man, Adam.
Yes.
Are you ready? We do a thing on the scrap. It's called the next 5 questions for firefighters. Originally, it was the 5 questions for firefighters, but after like 120 episodes, all the low-hanging fruit was gone. And so we had to remake it. And we're getting close to that point again.
Oh gosh.
So, but not the point. There are no correct answers. Everything is your opinion.
Oh, good.
And then I score it with the help of the audience, hopefully, who will help me say max points or not max points, but not the point. Are you ready for the next 5 questions for firefighters?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Number 1, numero uno. What single characteristic makes the difference between a run-of-the-mill firefighter and the top tier go-to badass firefighter?
All right. Can you repeat the question one more time so I get my answer right?
Let me get my delivery.
Sorry.
Let me get my delivery good. What single characteristic makes the difference between a run-of-the-mill firefighter and a top tier go-to badass firefighter?
Wow. One word?
Up to you.
All right. Courage.
Your answer.
Courage.
Courage.
Yep. And the reason why is because, dude, you could have the hardest worker in the world. If they don't have the courage to stand up for what they believe in and what is right, they'll just be mediocre.
I'm right. Number 2, if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice as a rookie, what would it be?
One piece of advice. Go to outside training.
Ooh. Any follow-up?
No, that would be it. If I could tell myself that, I would have saved a lot of years of just being that mediocre firefighter.
Dude, I will tell you this right now. That is one of the strongest pieces of advice anybody in any, like throughout the fire service, 100% get outside of your bubble and go to outside training. It will blow your mind. And that I will give like double max points for number 2. Number 3, what is your favorite training drill?
My favorite training drill?
Favorite training drill?
Flowing and moving. I love it. It's so much fun, dude. Every time I'm out there, like there's a good song in my head. There's a burning building in my way. You know what I mean? Like
right on. I like to ask the question, just sit in silence and wait and see if someone's gonna expound. And then I wait for the audience, because I also wait for the audience to tell me whether they resonate with the question or not. Because dude, flowing and moving. And
Yeah.
we have a OSB house that's like, people are like, can we
Yeah.
flow water in it or not? I'm like, yes, absolutely. The reason we built it is so you can go flow water. And it's like, but it's going to get really musty and mildewy. I'm like, no, you go and you flow in it and we'll deal with the mold and the mildew.
Yeah.
But yes, 100%. Instant Zero puts in work every day. Max points. Number 3 was max points. I love flow and move. Number 4, what mistake have you learned the most from in your fire service career?
Being too emotional sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Like taking it to heart when it doesn't need to be taken to heart.
Like absorbing it or dishing it or both?
Absorbing it and then redishing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, falling into those traps of like, they're pushing your buttons, right? And you allow your emotions to overtake your common sense, and it ends up biting you in the ass somewhere down the line.
No, I like it.
Right.
I
like
it.
learning that you brought it up a couple of times. Like I've gotten a lot better at taking pauses before I talk for that very reason.
Sure. For that very reason. No, I love it. And for that reason, I'll give you max points on number 4, which brings us to the final question, the question that's been around since the beginning of the 5 questions. And it is heavy fire, searchable space. I really feel like I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
Oh, man. Man, I like both of those. I know. Can I clone myself?
We'll see. We'll see your answer, and then we'll see the points.
Who am I kidding? I love flowing, dude. I'm going to go fire attack.
At least I wasn't wrong in my assumption, because there's so many people like Lo. I'm going to read you these. I really want to read you these. Amanda Miller said, "I bet I know he'll choose for the last question." LOL. David Briley said, "VES personally," and then it went on and said, "Love it, max point." Yeah, hell yeah, Max. And then Nate Sturm said, "He's flowing all day." Smoothbore said, "He may surprise you." David Byerly said, "VES." The suspense. VES. There it is. Called it. Yeah. No, 100%, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Trust me, I'd love to do the VS too.
No. And that's beauty. I'll be honest with you, man. That's the reason I love that question. There's no wrong answer. I just want to know the reason. I want to know the reason why you choose the one you choose, because there's no wrong ansor.
100%. Well, and that's the thing is I've spent more time mastering fire attack than I have VS. Right. And so like, why wouldn't you put your all-star in that position? Right. Not saying I'm an all-star. Don't take that out of context, but right, like it's the Super Bowl, it's the World Series, right? Like, this is for the game. Like, are you gonna put the guy that's been sitting on the bench in, or are you gonna put in the person that, like, has it locked in the bag, right? Like, so yeah, that'd be fire attack all day long.
I love it, brother. Dude, you
Put me where I can fucking beat down fire, and dude, I'm in my happy spot.
So many people said max points. I can't knock it. Heavy fire, yes. There it is. That officially makes it 186 scraps in the books. Dude, if you awesome. Thank you, Adam. I talked to you before, but literally reached out to you on Saturday from an airport and said, "Hey, dude, are you available on Monday?" Because, and again, no knock, Ryan McCormick is dealing with a lot back in Arkansas. The tornadoes, the wildland fires, everything going on. So, Adam,
Godspeed, brother. That's he's got a point.
Our prayers are with the prayers of every scrapper is with you. Thank you, my brother Adam, for filling in and being a part of this. What's the best way to get a hold of you? If people want to reach out to you, if people want to say, "Hey, I want to hear more about this whole rising tide, etc." What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I still have Instagram because I like photos. I guess I still have my YouTube pages up. I don't really have any other social media. I got rid of those for I think a lot of reasons. Anyway,
Right on.
but the best way is like reach out via Instagram. If it's something that I can help you with and I can't convey it in text, I'll give you my phone number.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's probably the best way. I apologize. Somebody reached out like at the beginning of the month and I forgot to look at Instagram for like 2 weeks because it sometimes happens. And
Right.
so I feel bad. Like if I don't get back to you immediately, like just know that like sometimes I'm busy, but I'll get back to you. So
Smoothbore Cartel said it best. Kyle said you'll have to find him on a mountain in Wyoming. So there you go.
Or buried under like 24 inches of snow. That's what's out there right now. So.
Garrett Karate said, I heard he'll be at the High Plains Fire Conference this year. Is that true?
Yep, I will be there.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, everybody else, final stuff as we close it out. Go to firehousevigilance.com. Man, so many great scraps coming up. If you want to be part of the scraps, if you want to be a part of the questions that are asked and the direction it goes, become a member of the Vigilantes. You can sign up at firehousevigilance.com. We are doing so much cool stuff between the forums with the special guests, exclusive swag, exclusive content, and all that things, blah, blah, blah. Sign up and be a part of it. We're also doing vigilante meetups at different conferences, including FDIC coming up this month in April. We're going to be getting together, and you can only find out about it through the Vigilantes. So go there, firehousevigilance.com, sign up. All that being said, yeah, I covered all that. We have great discussions. Yes, I got it. My man, Adam Maiers, thank you for being such a phenomenal guest and making this such a great scrap.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Audience, you make the scrap magical. Your questions, your comments, every bit of it, man. I love you all. Remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tones stay silent unless it is burning. Everybody, stay safe out there.